Ian, your talk on April 10th, the title is Defending Science Education. And tell us a little bit about what you're talking about and your overall subject area here at UNC Charlotte as a professor in science education.
So my talk is going to focus on the latest attempts to undermine science and science education throughout the country, with the more recent bills that have been introduced as a way to kind of change how it's taught in the classroom. So I'll talk about that and then how that relates to some things that we've noticed in North Carolina historically, and also some things that are kind of cropping up more lately. It will definitely be dealing some with politics of science, but also just with communication as well. And my research focuses on this area, especially with evolution education and climate change education, and then with films as well. So I'm part of that process when we do the discussion of our films. And then what I do here is that I actually am an elementary science educator, and I teach future elementary school teachers how to teach science. And so I teach methods courses every semester, and I absolutely love working with these students. They're undergrads. And I like to look at it as that, as you were saying, we like to get the younger population, that I love the challenge of getting 25 to 30 students in there that most of them are scared of science, and then changing that attitude by the time they're done, and letting them realize that this is really a great thing to teach and very exciting. And I've had many actually come up to me recently and said, while student teaching, they've found this is their favorite subject to teach, and they hated it before they took my class. And so what's important to me is getting those people who are going to be our future elementary school teachers to enjoy teaching it again, so that we can get our younger population, the children, to actually start having it again in their classroom and get excited about it. And I think that's where something like the Expo comes in to play, is that it's another way to show kids, and people of all ages, but we do target children with some of the tables, but it's a great way just to get them engaged and excited about what we as a university have to offer, but what science has to offer as well.
To get back to Ian's lecture, I've got to say that one thing we did this year that was a little bit controversial, and we discussed it somewhat, was we actually deliberately decided that we would include some of these large discussions about science where science is becoming political. If you ask most scientists if science is a political topic, they would say no.
Right.
It has nothing to do with politics. We don't have biases, but it has entered the political sphere, and we're having these large-scale discussions about whether or not this is a hoax or this is made up, and whether this is evidence or that is evidence, and this kind of thing. So we can pretend that it doesn't exist, or we can actually look at it a little bit. And I think the public is actually interested in looking at it. And we have two events. One is his talk, and the other one is the Chasing Ice film that we're showing, which is a film about climate change. It's a documentary, and we don't expect everybody who's coming to this to agree with either his talk or with what the film is saying, but we need to have a forum for discussing these things and for bringing them out in the open and actually rather than shouting, communicating backward and forward. So those events are really actually aimed at adults who are interested in those topics.
Well, and it's certainly clearly central to our role as a university in Charlotte, and to be the convener of discussion. And it's exciting to see the many angles of UNC Charlotte's role in leading the science discussion in this community, kind of coming together. And again, as I said, the early university high school is going to be a great way to get a larger portion of our neighbors in Charlotte thinking about this institution as a place to be for science.
And I like to think, with my talk too, I'll focus on, not just with evolution education, climate change education, but there are efforts to actually redefine science in general, and that's where my expertise comes in. And so that's kind of where I'll be going, is the discussions that have gone on throughout the country over the past 10, 20 years, and even longer, but more recently, with the discussions about what is science and attempts to redefine what science is. And my goal is to try to inform my students in my classroom, and then the public in general, about what science is, what science can and cannot do,